I think this is the second or the third time Iron Mountain is the sponsor for this event. And every time I come here, believe me, I'm really impressed with the kind of work that we are doing in the government space, not just in terms of the scale and the transformation that we are doing, but also on the DEI front. We had ma'am over here speaking about her organization. We had Mugdha ma'am speaking about her organization. So every time I go impressed with the amount of work that we are doing. Thank you very much for that. I also want to say that I myself am a government child. I grew up in one of the colonies. My father was a central government employee. And we grew up believing that anything is possible, right? We grew up believing that you just have to imagine it and it's possible. And I can see that over here. Thank you for everything that you had done. So I come from a company called Iron Mountain. I'm not sure how many of you have heard that, but this is a favorite with me, that every time I go on stage, I ask how many of you have heard of Iron Mountain. So can I have a hands up for how many have heard of Iron Mountain? And every time I believe that we have to do a lot more work on what we have, on what we know about Iron Mountain. So Iron Mountain, for those of you who do not know, is the largest record storage company in the world, largest information management company in the world. We started off about 70 years ago by storing all the amount of paper that there is. Every time you walk into a government office, the amount of paper that gets generated all comes into our facilities. We then help companies transform that into data that they can use for the digital transformation. So my talk is about AI. It's about unstructured to structured data. I hope it helps all of you in understanding the power of data that we have sitting not just in the paper, but the power of data that is in the digital format and how we can use it. So my talk is about that. We first start off with a video. If we can play the video, please.
Why do we work? Why do we make the sacrifices we make? The late nights, the syncing with co-workers 5 time zones away. Why?
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 ¿Por qué hacemos lo que hacemos?
Why? Because we all want our work to mean something. We want it to have impact. And not just on the bottom line, but the people we ultimately serve. Your customers. Iron Mountain knows how to make your work mean more. After all, we've been protecting your most valuable assets for over 7 decades, ensuring data protection and information security. So who better to help you use it to unlock new ideas and insights that will not only accelerate your business, but elevate it in so many ways? By digitizing your information, securely decommissioning your IT assets, safeguarding your brand reputation, maintaining a secure chain of custody, collaborating to meet your sustainability goals, and connecting your work to the world.
So let's roll up our sleeves and get to it, shall we?
Let's find the gold in your mountain of data.
Let's elevate.
Let's elevate.
Let's elevate.
大的无敌的梦，
让我们提升。
Let's elevate.
Let's elevate!
Elevate the power of your work.
Thank you. So, like the gentleman there said, let's find the gold in your data. So this is really about the amount of data we are generating. I myself today, I logged into my laptop after 3 days. I was traveling. I'm based in Bangalore. I came over here to Delhi. 3 days I hadn't checked my laptop. There were 900 mails sitting over there. So just imagine the amount of mails. Just imagine the amount of data that we are generating. YouTube, I was amazed to see this. There are 500 hours of video that get uploaded every hour. Just imagine all the paper that we are digitizing, that we are keeping, photographs that we are uploading to Instagram, to YouTube, to whatever, Facebook, all that data everywhere. And the most important thing, most of it, 90% of it has come in the last 1 or 2 years. So that's what we are generating, and the time is just becoming shorter and shorter and shorter. And what are we going to do with all this data? Whenever we need something, we have to find it across all these molds and molds of data. And we know that 90% of it is unstructured. If I have to find something from anything that I have digitized and uploaded, you know how difficult it gets to find that. So how am I going to make sense of all this data? And that's where Iron Mountain comes in. That's where we have the processes and the technology to find anything from all across the data, whether it's physical data, whether it's digital data, whether it's any other format. We can make sense of the data and give you in formats that you can use. That's what we specialize in. Sorry? Okay. So information, as we know, is powerful. It is powerful only when it is protected, connected, and activated. When it is protected and stored, when I can get my hands on it, when I want it, when we can connect it across all the different silos and use it as we want it. And then we can activate the power of that data. So that's what we do. Okay, but what is the problem that organizations have? Why are they not able to do it? Can I have anybody say, what are the problems of data that they are having now? What does your organization feel? Why are you not able to use all this data in the formats? Can anybody tell me what problems are we having right now? Why are we not using the full potential of data? Anyone? Ma'am? Right, exactly. We can't use it. It's in unstructured formats. That's right. Anybody else? Unstructured. 100% right. And now we have AI missions that's going on. Now what's the problem with all the AI mission? It's the data that we feed. Unless data is in structured formats, the AI can never make sense out of it. My son, one day I called him and I said that I'm talking about AI. He said, AI just lies. It's just hallucinating. But we know that unless the data that goes into AI is fed in proper formats, only then it can make sense out of it, right? That's the most important problem that we have. It's not AI that is not able to tell you the right answer. It's the data that's getting into AI. It's the data that's getting read. Unless it's in formats that's read, unless you train your models, it's not going to give you the information that we need. So that's where the problem lies. How do we get data in structured formats? The other problem, it's become more and more complex. It's become more and more expensive as well. Risks are increasing. Somebody was talking about DPDP Act. Unless you save data unless you safeguard your data, you're opening yourself to too many of those problems. And then to add that all, how many of us have the skills to understand and to do what it takes? All of us know we are struggling with it. We do not have the right amount of engineers. We do not have the people who understand all this. Everybody knows the problem that comes with all that. So all this is adding to lots of talent gaps, lots of risks we are opening up, and to add to that is all the unstructured data. So how do we start putting all this together? How do we start putting data in formats that we can read? How do we start using it that our businesses can make sense of the data? Is it by putting together a map of where do we want to go, from where do we want to go, to where do we want to go? Working with businesses to understand what's the amount of data that we want to collect. You know that we have to be very careful about the amount of data we collect. It has to be also identified, and there has to be a proper certification as well of what we collect. There have to be controls on how much of it we can safeguard, how is it stored in the right formats? Most of the IT leaders believe that all the amount of data that is coming is impacting their business and they don't know how to handle all this. That's where really Iron Mountain team comes in. So we have a platform called DXP. What DXP really does is that it converts data. It's not just about digitization. We are all into this mode of digitization, right? So it's not about just digitization. What DXP does is that it vectorizes your data, and if you need any information from any page that has been scanned, it can bring you the data in any format that you want. So for example, if there are, say, insurance documents that you're reading, you want to know what is the claim number of this document, Praveena Gundiah, what is the claim number? You don't need to index it by that form. You can just run your model. It will bring up Praveena Gundiah from all the digitized documents that have been formed. If, for example, that there is, again I go to insurance because these are documents that I know very well. If you are looking at a health insurance and you want to make a decision on whether the person we can sanction, we can give this claim or no, it can give you in formats that are required for the underwriter. So you can say Praveena Gundiah, age so much, this is the problem, this is, this is the blood pressure, this is the sugar level, and this is whatever, and along with some report. So if all that comes to you in formats which are readable in the first 5 minutes, it becomes so simple to make your decision. These are the kind of solutions that are available. So it's not just about storing data in formats, but now what you're doing is you are activating the value of data that are stored over here and making use of business intelligence of all the data stored over there. So you are now putting your data to work and finding that gold mine within the data. So this is what Iron Mountain does. We protect, we have been doing it for many years, whether it's storing your tapes, LTO tapes, media tapes, paper, data centers, we store everything. That's the business we are in. We then connect everything, all the moving parts. So from physical to digital, digital to any other formats. We also have a lot of media. So, all the studios that are there in Hollywood, we store all these images, all the forms that are stored, the movies that are stored, and we can bring you any clips. If it's Amitabh Bachchan's birthday, for example, we can hunt out Amitabh Bachchan clips from all across the data that is stored with us. We can search in whatever format that you want. So this is how we connect the various parts of information and activate workflows. So the claim example that I gave you on insurance, it is activating the workflow. It goes through workflows for people to sanction. So this is turning your physical data into intelligence with the power of DXP. Mailroom is another solution, account payable, HR, banking, you name it. The platform is capable of validating, it's capable of checking. Everything can be done through a single platform. It can be used in any business application. There was a gentleman over there I was talking to. So even if it is manufacturing and you want to check the 3 gate passes, what came into the system, what got entered into your ERP, and finally what's the invoice that came in. If the oil tanker said 3 oil tankers, what came into my factory, was it really 3 oil tankers? Did I get really billed for 3 oil tankers? The 3-way authentication. All this can be done through our system. So again, storing IT assets, ma'am was talking about. Yes, sir.
Don't require this.
Absolutely, that's what we do. So you can segregate.
Is it a manual methodology or some tool is there, software tool is there to segregate the useful data or the bogus data?
So we'll have to sit with you. I mean, I cannot answer this directly. It first would mean scanning it in formats, first ingesting the whole data into the software. We then have to identify what is it that you want to sort. and it can be very easily sorted in whatever way. So it means the setting the rules, you have to train the model. So for example, I'm just telling you, I don't know what your exact problem is, but if you say that all the documents which are older than 2025 needs to be
Actually,
kept
we
to one
have the
side.
voluminous data, like 20 years, 30 years back note sheets and a lot of invoices, the approvals copy, and who will segregate this to put this in
You
digitized
put it
format?
in the system, you put it in the system. So if the rule says that data greater than 2020 needs to be in one side, if that is the rule that you're setting, the system brings that across, puts it in one
Fine,
part,
fine.
and the other one can be set in that. So it depends on what is the rule, it can be very easily set.
Okay, ma'am.
So
For that, ma'am,
the-
it has to be indexing also, no?
it need not, and that's the beauty of the system. It need not get indexed. It can read within the PDF. It can read within the PDF. Now, if I have indexed today by Praveena Gundiah claim number so much, this is the claim number. But if I want to search in which hospital was Praveena Gundiah, it has not been indexed by that. It can even then search within that and bring that up. So the other thing, so we are in the space of data, so physical data, digital data. Ma'am was also talking, Mugdha ma'am was also talking about assets, right? We all know that data sits within, there's a question, I'll just finish that. Data also sits in laptops, data also sits in computers. What happens? I cannot just give it to the guy who's going on the road. This computer, if I give it, I know there's personal data over there, I know there's health data. What we do is we cleanse the data completely and then recycle it in ways that not a single piece goes into the land cycle. We also then give a value of that to the customer. So this is on the asset life cycle, but I could take the question that the gentleman has behind.
Hello. Can we define the retention setup, retention policy to archive the older data, maybe the...
Absolutely, sir. This is a beautiful example. One of the best use cases that we have is defining retention. Now, the problem about data is all of us. Now, when I started my journey in Iron Mountain, there was a joke which said that when Xerox came into the market, the amount of paper that got multiplied was 7 times. That was the joke that happened. Everybody just Xeroxed and photocopied, and all the papers we started storing 7 of those copies. And that's similarly what's happening with the cloud, right? We just put everything to the cloud, everything goes into the cloud, and one fine day we think, why is our bill so high? We are not destroying anything. But if you set, the software is capable of setting the retention system. It says that everything, suppose your rule says that create plus 7 years is what I want to keep, everything greater than that needs to get destroyed, then it brings up that information and says that this is due for destruction. Do you want to do that? It does that. What it is also capable of doing, now a pharma company came to us the other day, they said that they are operating in 70 countries around the world. They said we don't know the laws of these 70 countries. Each law, it's a pharma manufacturing has, time's up, but this is the last example. Pharma manufacturing said that we don't know the laws across all these countries. We don't know what we need to store, what we don't need to store. The software is also capable of advising you in every country what are the laws around data protection and privacy. How many years you need to keep, what is it you need to keep, what is it that you don't need to keep. Thank you very much. I think the time is up, but if I have 1 or 2 minutes more, I have 1 or 2 examples as well. The examples are from the government sector. These are from cases in the UK. There was a council that wanted to, just one example. There was a council that wanted to get its citizen, get its initiative in front of the Citizens Forum, and for that they wanted to digitize all this huge amount of data. The amount of paper that was, they said that it was going to take them 7 years to sit and do all that. That's when they contacted us. We accelerated everything, set everything up within their own system, complied with their laws, and the amount of data that got scanned was 28 million images. That got done within a year, and it saved them 120 million pounds. That's the amount of saving that was, and it was all done to the satisfaction of the council. There are 2 or 3 examples more, but we have a stall outside. If any one of you is interested, we could come out and I could talk to you about this. Thank you very much. If there's any question.
The cultural heritage and that you also do this. So in my stints in culture, I have come across a lot of people, private sector people wanting to do a lot of digitization for us, often pro bono. My only concern, and because we also live in the NFT world, the non-fungible token world, my question has been, and I'll give you a few examples. I don't want that anything that we open, because government is today the possessor and the repository of a huge amount of, say for example, manuscripts, say for example, sculptures in the museum, assets in the museum, etc., which is what we monetize by making it universally available to everybody. I will not name companies, but I have examples of people who worked with the government sector. I'm not naming anything. We'd want to have a healthy partnership with the private public sector. So how do we contract procurement, or these kind of relationships are very important to me. The issue is I don't want to give you my original assets, and you have a digital, and then we have to access them through the paywall. I can tell you this has happened in the globe over, where museum artifacts have been digitized, and then to be able to see your own digital versions of your own physically possessed artifacts, you can only see a teaser, and post the teaser everybody has to pay to be able to access. So I think
an example,
yes,
ma'am,
so when you do, and these are very, very expensive, because the data is ours after all. We are paying for a tech, I am negotiating for duty free shopping softwares. I will not name companies again. Those duty-free shopwares, you have invested money. This is a good business, guys. So if you make an EHRMS, CRPs, and e-sparrows of the world, please also sell it to the private sector and earn revenue. This is your digital infrastructure set. Because what is happening, once you invest the money, then using the same thing, customizing it. Please throw some light on this.
Ma'am,
because this is what is stalling all of us to work, because we get behind paywalls then.
Ma'am, what you saw was what we have, there is through our CSR initiatives, we digitize a lot of monuments across the world. So we have done one in Peru. In India, we have done the Gujarat stepwell. We have also done Elephanta Caves, and there is one more place that we have, Jaigarh Fort. There are 3 of these monuments that we have done. This is, of course, open to the public. It is the archaeological survey that came to us and said that we want to do it, and we have done it in partnership with them. And what it does is, every bit of the monument is so beautifully covered that you can have a 3D view of a walk view of the whole place. We have done that in 3 or 4 places, and if there's something that you want us to do, we could also speak to you about that. But it is open to the public. It's not that we have monetized it and we are not in control of the images.
No,
it's after all a public.
It's about building a contractual relationship that allows our assets to be used non-exclusive.
Yes. Absolutely.
Agreements.
We don't own the assets, and we work with you. I'm from the same country after all, ma'am. I don't want our country heritage to be taken away by anyone of anybody else.